Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, the word grifter is used quite often, but like most trendy words on the internet, people kinda just use it randomly and out of context. Kinda like how the left is always pointing the finger at people they disagree with and calling them fascists. Everyone I disagree with is a fascist, everyone I disagree with is a Russian bot promoting Russian propaganda. You see the same thing with the word grifter. You're a grifter and you're a grifter. This person's a grifter. Everyone I disagree with is a grifter. But there's a very specific definition to the term. It's somebody who promotes ideas or acts a certain way online for internet clout and attention, but doesn't actually believe in what they're saying, isn't actually that person. They're acting a certain way and saying certain things specifically to please their audience. And you know, I've been accused of being a grifter many times, but pretty much anyone in my personal life knows that everything that I say online is the same thing that I say in conversations in the real world. I can confidently say that I'm not a grifter. These guys, however, these two little TikTok Biden-paid shills, the two individuals that we covered recently, Harry Sisson and his other forgettable friend, I forget his name, we'll figure it out and mention it later in the video. Well, these two boys, I'm gonna call them boys specifically because they're certainly not men, well, they are the actual textbook definition of a grifter. And I'm not the one saying it, they're pretty much admitting it themselves. There's a little clip that's going viral that's resurfaced from the Seth Dillon podcast. It's gone viral on Twitter and everyone's talking about it, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so what's the definition of a grifter? Well, this is the definition of a grifter.
To be honest, like it's actually really hard in this space, right? Like we have like 45 seconds to record a video, keep people's attention. And a lot of the people on our side, like if they start hearing, like I've actually done it before. I've criticized like Democrats, like specifically Hakeem Jeffries, and it all just went south. Like I started losing followers. Like it's bad, right? And I really want to be that person that like reaches the other side because Democrats, I mean, they're horrible at their jobs, right? They do a lot of shitty things. Although I'll vote for them all the time, but it's also hard in the space to criticize them.
That's a good. Can we clip that quote? They're horrible
please
at their
don't.
jobs.
Please
don't.
Please don't clip that. Please, no, please.
I mean, you literally can't make this stuff up. Look at his partner's face as he's saying what he's saying. That's the face of somebody who knows better, somebody who's struggling internally and just wants the individual next to them to please stop digging the hole deeper. Democrats are horrible at their job, but I'm too afraid to call them out because I'll lose followers, is essentially what he just said. Democrats suck at their job, and I tried criticizing them in the past, but it was just too painful because I'm literally part of a cult, and if you say anything targeting anyone with a D next to their name, well then the pitchforks and the torches come out. What an absolute coward. He essentially just admitted to millions of people who are probably going to watch this clip that he is in fact one of the biggest grifters online. A literal vote blue no matter who bot. He essentially said it. The Democrats suck at their jobs, but I'm going to end up voting for them anyways. Because oh, those Republicans, they're even worse. And towards the end of the video, Seth Dillon says, that's an amazing quote. Can we clip that? Can we please clip that? And the reaction is telling. Chris Mowry, that's the name by the way of the individual that's speaking, begs them not to clip his quote. You're literally on a podcast, I'm not sure if you realize. Please don't clip that. You know, again, another perfect sign that you're a dishonest grifter. If you're saying anything publicly that you believe, but you don't want it to get out there and you're telling people, please don't clip that and please don't release that statement, well then again, you're basically doing the Hillary Clinton thing of having a public opinion and also a private opinion. You say one thing publicly, but you believe another, or you're actually going to do something else behind the scenes. Tell me you're in a cult without telling me you're in a cult. It's funny, because these are the same individuals who are always saying that, oh, those right-wingers, they're in a cult. All they do is parrot talking points and blindly follow their leaders. Whatever Donald Trump says, they mimic. Whatever Tucker Carlson says, they mimic. Which couldn't be further from the truth. You know, Tucker has said multiple things that I've disagreed with. I've made multiple videos even criticizing Donald Trump. He's not perfect. Nobody is. In fact, in every single video that I make praising Donald Trump, I mean, it's no secret that I'm a fan of Donald Trump. In all of those videos, I mention the negatives because that's simply the fair thing to do. Donald Trump has weaknesses like any other human being, or at least perceived weaknesses. Things that I find are weaknesses. I don't think he's the perfect politician. I just think he's a whole lot better than the rest of these empty suit neocon clowns. And that's another thing. You know, they claim that conservatives are really a cult. But if you think about it, GOP voters, Republicans, hold their loyalties to only one thing, their beliefs and their values. And if a politician with an R next to their name does something that they disagree with, Republicans are literally the first to criticize their own. Most Republicans can't stand Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, Lindsey Graham, Dan Crenshaw. And there's another faction of the party that doesn't like Lauren Boebert or Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. People are publicly able to state these things, have discussions without fear of cultist backlash. I've made countless videos criticizing conservatives. When I disagree with their policies, when I think they're liars, when I think they're snakes, when I think they have an ulterior motive, when they aren't representing the interests of the American voters and specifically their voters, their constituents, I am the first person to speak out and release a video. And look, I'm not trying to stand on a pedestal and, claim that I'm the greatest person ever. Far from it. I mean, it's just the basics. And it's not just me, it's pretty much everybody in this community. People voice their frustrations with their own party. They criticize leaders. That's kind of the point of the First Amendment, or at least part of the point. I'm not some unique special guy who's highly virtuous. I'm just not a grifter. These vote blue no matter who Democrats, however, are the absolute definition of grifters. They know that their policies don't work. They know that their policies have backfired. They know their president is full of you-know-what, literally and metaphorically. They know John Fetterman's not fit to serve. They know that the last 2.5 years have been an utter disaster in terms of policy, in terms of actual tangible results, and that life has gotten worse for the average American and frankly for the whole world. They know this, yet they will look at you straight in the face and say, Joe Biden's the greatest president of all time, and then just blindly list a bunch of propaganda and misinformation. Or their favorite argument, oh, this bill and this bill, they passed this bill and that bill, not actually going into the details of the bills themselves, as if passing bills alone is a sign of success. Not the actual results of the policy, no, of course. And honestly, it's moments like these where I realize that I have actually more respect for the far lefties. The Hassans and the Voshes of the world, the Anna Kasparians, the TYT faction, and not to say that they're totally honest, I mean they're constantly promoting fake news narratives, and in a way, people like Hassan, of course, are total grifters. The whole communist shtick, but he's the biggest capitalist I've ever seen in my life. But just in terms that they're actually authentic when it comes to their standards for publicly elected politicians. At least they're willing to call out a Nancy Pelosi. At least they're willing to vent their frustration with the current clown, poopy pants Biden in chief. Whatever that means, kind of just riffing, but at least they're relatively honest, at least to a certain point. Past the primary seasons, they kind of mold and shift, they transform into vote blue no matter who clowns, but at least they're slightly more honest. Kind of. These two individuals, however, this Harry J. Sisson kid and his friend Chris Mowry, they just have to be paid shills. They released a video recently claiming, oh no, of course not. We're not paid shills. It's all public information. We haven't received a dime from the DNC, they claim, except they're receiving money from a company that's receiving money from the DNC for social media content. I'm sure that money's going to somebody else, not the two clowns that are doing DNC promotion online. No, of course not. No, I'm not stupid. They're obviously full of it. It's literally the only explanation. They are paid shills. They're proving it with the things that they say unfiltered. There is literally no other explanation. We know the data. Gen Z voters hate Joe Biden. I think the most recent numbers that we saw was upwards of 70, possibly 80% of Gen Z voters do not want Joe Biden to run for office again. They don't support him. They don't like him. They feel as though they're stuck with him. Then how is it possible that you have these two young Gen Z progressive types shilling for him as if he's the greatest president of all time? Two explanations. Either they're grifters and they're simply just too scared of the online backlash from the cultist left if they say anything bad about Democrats, or they're paid shills, social media Democrat operatives targeting young impressionable voters. What it probably is a little bit of a mix of both. These guys have been totally outed. There is no denying it. I don't care what they say. I don't care what kind of explanation. We know exactly what's going on here. It's time to take the L. You've been caught. You've been exposed. It's the typical left-wing grift. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know that we would love to have you here. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.